We're joined, joined with? Do you say with? Joined by?
Joined by.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Joined by Anna Swisher or Anna Swisher, which one?
Anna.
Anna.
You're good in German.
But Anna in the US, right?
Yeah, definitely Anna in the US or Anna in the South.
Oh,
A-U.
Anna.
Yeah, I got the Anna.
On
All right.
Swisher.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again.
Anna Swisher. I want to say swoosh.
Yeah, no, like, you have like Swisher, Swisher.
It's not a
like
Swisser.
Swish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did have a coach of mine for a long time who's Scottish. Called me Anna Switzer.
Oh.
I just didn't have the heart to correct her. To this day. How you doing? Anna Switzer. And I'm like, I'll go with it.
That's good. Who is Anna Swisher?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, maybe in short, give me a small background. Like, what did you study? What do you do?
Yeah. Actually, it turns out I probably have one of those great non-linear paths. You know, people grow up and they think, you know what, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I've got this all kind of mapped out. And every single time I sort of felt like I knew what I was going to do, I just decided to take a crazy left turn. So it's actually history and psychology double major undergrad.
Nice.
Ooh.
So I studied colonial American history and like cognitive neuroscience, cognitive psychology. So it has nothing to do with sport.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Same for me, actually. I studied history too.
Really?
Just for 3 years, though, and then I stopped.
And so was there like a specialty in history?
Well, you know, here in Europe, we mainly learn Europe kind of history.
So yeah, it takes like only 3 years? That should take a
Actually,
way
I didn't
longer
finish.
time.
I didn't finish. That's what I'm saying. I stopped it at 3 years.
It's a
and
10-year
You got to
program.
like,
Change
you got to like the
direction.
1500s and you're like, it's too much. No, I had a really great professor, and so I just decided to do the major.
So that was your undergrad,
Yep.
like your bachelor degree?
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't regret it. It was great, but I was quite certain I was a track athlete that I wanted to be a track coach.
Yeah.
And so I did spend a lot of time working with my track coach trying to learn.
Okay, so where was this?
Williams College in Massachusetts.
Okay. Yeah.
Small Division III school, 2,000 students. So just tried to learn everything I could.
Yeah.
I graduated. I was like, you know what? I really want to be a track coach. So I did. Got a job
Yeah.
as a track coach at a high school.
Yeah.
And got a job college. And then I had a coach that got me suckered into weightlifting. And then I ended up getting a master's degree in weightlifting. I'm pretty close.
Master's degree in weightlifting.
It's technically, sport science with an emphasis in coaching.
Okay.
But we were a weightlifting club.
Yeah.
Very heavy into weightlifting. So we did spend a lot of time learning about weightlifting.
Nice.
We'd have meets. That was our lab director is a very talented weightlifting coach. So we didn't really talk about endurance. Let's put it that way. We'll call it a strength power master's degree. That's probably about right.
And was that also in Massachusetts?
Nope. That was at East Tennessee State.
Okay.
So then I decided, I'd like to be a teacher. Coaching's fun, but coaching and teaching are pretty similar. I enjoy both of them. So as part of the deal, they paid for my graduate school, and in exchange, I taught classes. So 48 hours before the semester starts, they hand you a syllabus and say you're a teacher now.
Yeah.
Some people enjoyed that, some people not so much.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And so I got a job teaching and coaching at a Division II school.
And how old are you?
I am 34.
Okay. No, yeah.
Oh,
Not
gosh.
right now.
How old was I? Probably about 24.
Okay.
Yeah, 24, 25. Graduated from the master's.
Yeah.
And took a job as a track coach and a professor. So
Are
I
you-
started teaching at 26.
Nice. And
Same for me.
wow.
But just to go back a little,
Yeah.
I always wondered, since you always hear in the States that you always have these different kind of coaches for all different kind of sports in college and at school, whereas here you mainly just have sports teachers in a sense. So I always wondered, how does that work? So you really have a coach for all the classes, or do children actually pick out the sport they want to do after school, or how does that work?
So you guys have the club system, right? So it's not attached to the university.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
we're attached to the university.
Okay.
So the university hires, 30 coaches, one for
Okay.
each sport. And then, you do your sport at university.
Okay.
And so you have just,
Right, but multiple sports might share a strength coach, right?
Yeah, so for strength and conditioning, American football has their own.
Yeah.
Basketball has their own. But other than those two sports, typically you're going to be working with 3, 4, 5 different sports.
Yeah.
Okay.
So something like, track and field or baseball or something they may share. Yeah, so you as a coach are going to have to put up with like 6 sports.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
It's different.
you're 26, you finished your master's, and you're already teaching.
Yep, teaching and coaching. So
Nice. And where's this?
Western State Colorado University.
Okay.
Small Division II school in Colorado.
Teaching what? History?
No, they hired me to teach sports science and exercise science. So
okay.
biomechanics, which no one likes, exercise physiology. They let me teach a course on periodization for 16 weeks, which I thought was pretty amazing. So we got to basically teach a bunch of different things. Adapted physical education, all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
Coached my throwers in track and field. Was a strength coach for the track and field team. And then had a chance to do that for about 4 years. And decided I'd like to learn more.
Mm-hmm.
I hate losing. And I wanted to be the best track coach in the world.
Yeah.
I wanted to understand how to basically optimize training. And to do that, you have to get, a deeper understanding of how the body works. And it was just sort of fascinating to me. So I went back to get a PhD in sport physiology and performance. So back to East Tennessee State. They were kind enough to pay for my education again.
Nice.
And award me a fellowship, which was very much appreciated and very generous.
So I should say Dr. Anna Swisher. Swisher. I'm just kidding.
Yes, I'm a doctor, but not the kind that helps people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You just, but what do you mean by, when you say a track coach, what's your, is that just running or everything, or just strength and conditioning if you're doing track and field?
So I coach the throwers as their event coach. So shot, disc, hammer, javelin, and the multi-event athletes in the throws.
Yeah.
And then I did strength and conditioning for the entire team. Because track is not a sport like football where you have a budget for a separate coach.
Yeah.
And of course, sprinters like to get after it. Cross country, distance runners, not so much. But I did get a chance to work with jumpers, throwers, sprinters, everybody in the weight room.
Nice.
So it was quite nice.
Okay.
That's good. So after you finish your PhD, what happens then?
Usually you get your PhD because then you're going to go back to work at a university, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's
Because they paid for it.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
But generally speaking, you get that end degree so that you get... Do you guys have tenure over here?
Probably.
So tenure is a thing where...
I'm not from here, so I wouldn't know.
Do they have tenure in Iceland? Because in Sweden they don't. And they looked at me like I was crazy when I was discussing with Eleiko how the whole process worked.
What does tenure mean?
Yeah, okay, so tenure is this thing where at a university, maybe 30% of all the jobs for professors are called tenure track. And what tenure track means is you have to jump through some hoops, you have to teach well, and students have to not hate you. You have to publish some papers and do some of that. You have to sit on committees and provide some service to the university. If you do all those things and you jump through all those hoops,
you become a professor.
At 5 years' time, you go up for tenure. And once you're awarded tenure, you can pretty much do whatever you want, and you will never be fired. Now, the idea is that people are self-motivated and they keep, being productive and whatever, and you don't just buy kids cupcakes so they get, good student evaluations. But at 5 years, then you have a job for life.
Okay.
And
so you can only get that with a terminal degree. So unless you have a PhD, you can never have that. And it's a pay increase and a job for life. So that's usually why people are pretty keen to finish their education that way.
Got it.
So I did have offers. I interviewed at universities. There's not a whole lot of women in science.
I don't think we have that though.
No.
Yeah, I don't think that exists
Yeah.
in Europe. But it is, more difficult to fire people in Europe. So kind of have a little more job security.
Well, if we take Luxembourg, you pass the state exam and then you got a job for life. So it's really hard to actually lose your job.
Yeah.
Really hard. I mean, there's cases of...
Why am I not in Luxembourg?
Well...
Luxembourg's teachers get the best pay in the world.
Come on. Stop
They
it,
do.
Yeah.
And you can't really be fired.
Like you have to do something really, really
if you're not
stupid.
unreasonable, yeah.
And then you're necessarily fired. You're just placed onto somewhere where you cannot hurt anybody. I don't know, but
I wish I'd known about this a couple years ago.
Sorry.
It's never too late. You're here now.
Yeah, no, I mean it's not too late, but
I mean, you know some German, so you could learn Luxembourgish.
I could. I heard it's a real interesting language. Yeah. But no, I was quite sure that was what I was going to do. So when I set out on the road to a PhD, I just wanted to go to another university and teach and coach. It's really important to me to do both. And it turns out I had this opportunity with Eleiko to do some coach education. And the more I did it, I worked on, developing some courses and things like that while I was doing my doctorate. Had a really good time doing it. And I had to make a decision. Do I go to take the job that's a guaranteed job for life? Super easy, everyone does it, super normal, hundreds of universities, lots of jobs, females in science, slam dunk. Or take a chance on a small company in Sweden that makes barbells that doesn't really have to do education. So I did it. So cool. I turned down the job offers. I interviewed just to, interview. Got some offers and then had to make some decisions. But that was about 2 years ago that I finished my degree and had to make that decision and haven't looked back.
Nice.
It was a tough choice, I guess.
It's a very tough choice.
Took a lot of thought.
Because you don't typically see people finish a terminal degree and work for a private barbell company.
I see what you mean.
It's just not there, but I guess I've never really taken the normal path. I've never really made the decision that you're supposed to make, and I'm really lucky to have a family and a husband that supports that. So he was pushing me to take it. It's like, you're gonna regret it, you're gonna regret it, you're gonna regret it, do it. So I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to take that chance, because I can always go back and do that.
Exactly.
But I'll never get this shot again.
The other kind of, if you have a job for life, it's really hard to get out of it, because you're so comfortable, you have what you need, you're secure, and then it's really hard to take decisions to choose another path. That's for sure.
And it's usually when you're comfortable that you stop growing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if you're going to be in education and asking people to constantly be out of their comfort zone and to challenge themselves, to kind of take the easy route and just say, I could do this. I've done this before. I've taught before. We'll just go back to it. It's kind of hypocritical.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. So just to frame it for people, you work for Eleiko. And, currently, And Eleiko, I mean, how would you describe, like, Eleiko? Because they're kind of a pioneer. I mean, what people know of Eleiko is really they make equipment, strength and strength equipment, barbells. They're really famous for. If anyone has watched the Olympics, weightlifting, they'll see Eleiko bars and plates, etc. But they're not really known for their educational side of it. So how would you describe that part of Eleiko?
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And it's really interesting because when I joined the company, they have a personal training course that I think in the U.S., if that course existed in the U.S., it would be about a 2-year master's degree.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
It's 24 days long. It's taught by, several dozens of instructors. It covers anatomy. It covers powerlifting. It covers different training philosophies for programming, common things that you would see. It covers weightlifting, functional training. It covers all of it. And then it's, a small chunk, and then you're on your own for a while, and then you come back for 4 days, and then you're on your own for a while. So it really is sort of like an extended mentorship.
Got it.
You don't see that. It's not your typical, 2-day weekend, you're an expert, have a piece of paper. So that was sort of their flagship that they'd done for a number of years. And I think that was really impressive to me, that they had thought through enough to really value their education, not just as something where you could say, we have a pretty cool brand. People kind of want to be associated with us. Let's just pump something out and let people, have a piece of paper, feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And so, it's an exam at the end of it and follow up. And, I thought it was really well done. And so then we've developed a bunch of other courses and expanded out. So the big decision was to expand out of Sweden. Yeah. So they did it, I think, exclusively in Sweden and exclusively in Swedish.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that really limits your market.
Absolutely.
And we are a global company. Doesn't make sense. And education is something that you need everywhere. So, then we had the opportunity to do powerlifting and, functional training courses and kettlebell courses and gymnastics courses. And then this Eleiko strength coach course, which I've been a big part of, along with my, longtime training partner, good friend, Angela Sorensen. We sort of got together and said, look, let's try to work with Eleiko to develop this course. So, in the last, I would say 3 years, huge growth, all over. Probably still better known for barbells, but I think we're making a lot of strides in terms of what we do education-wise. It's a small weightlifting community, small sort of strength community, and, word travels. So it's been really nice to see.
Yeah, that's good. What if you send an email and you have your name, what's under your name?
Director of Education and Performance.
Okay, cool.
Which is just a fancy way of saying I'm involved in education and any performance-related projects that come our way.
Yeah.
So you might imagine a lot of people approach Eleiko asking about different, technology or different sort of products. Would we be interested in partnering? So those requests, I think, much to the dismay of the people making the requests, those end up on my desk. Yeah. And so then we have to ask them some really difficult questions, lots of stammering, lots of awkward, well, we're not really sure what the reliability is, or, well, we don't really have any data on this. And then we,
Yeah.
Okay.
So but most of your time maybe goes to the 3-day seminars you do. So most of these educational programs, or, the certification you're doing is a 3-day seminars, correct?
Yep. So Eleiko Strength Coach Level 1 is a 3-day course, and we sort of put it together in a way that combined sort of, I guess, my background in education. If you think like a teacher instead of a coach, you sort of structure things a little bit differently. And then also thinking as a coach, okay, what are the skills that you need? So it's actually a really fun course to put together. Yeah. Because, most things are okay, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. And then usually they're a weekend, 2 days, right? CrossFit 2 days, bunch of certifications 2 days. And most people don't have a ton of time. How much information can you really convey in 2 days? Like, are you an expert coach 2 days? No, right?
Of course not.
So,
but are you in 3?
No, but this isn't a 3-day course. Yeah. It's a 3-day course where we're there in person, but the course starts 2 weeks ago.
I've done it, so I should know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you should know. But we have a hybrid version, right? So online education is a big thing. I don't believe you can learn how to coach weightlifting online.
No.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for me. But I do think you can learn a lot of other things online that we don't need to spend time when we're here. So if you think it's important for coaches to understand, let's say, biomechanics, right, or energy systems, which I think it is, okay, can we communicate that information in a meaningful way online before? Yeah. And that frees up time to maybe get a little bit more advanced in some of the stuff we do in the weight room. So kind of setting up the hybrid structure and then having more resources available after, and then actually, allowing people some time to think through that before you do certification exam. I think that's really different. And then the other thing that we do that's kind of cool is we give people access to those course materials. So it's like a textbook online with videos for a year. And we can actually track people's engagement with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine was a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. So like if you didn't read a bunch of chapters, Arnar, we can see that.
I aced my test.
Can we now?
Yeah. You may have aced your
can
test,
you check it now?
But not because you studied.
No, I did.
You're just smart.
I did go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So,
did you really, or did your son just click through?
No.
So should we have made it out to Victor?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like 100%. Good job, boy.
No, that's good. But I am interested to kind of dive a little bit more into, what happens in the courses that you teach, because you must experience a lot of different types of people that you come across when you do these 3-day seminars, and obviously you're teaching them, in short, you teach them how to lift and focused on snatch and clean and jerk, right? So maybe to frame the question, is there anyone that has been to your seminar that you thought, okay, this person shouldn't be here?
There are people who I'm surprised come because they're so far out of their comfort zone that you'd be surprised that they would have the courage to just try something completely different. So we do say, look, anyone can come. I taught a course in Chiang Mai, Thailand, which was awesome.
Yeah.
It was outside in a gym that had no walls.
Nice.
40 degrees. Really nice people. But one of the people that was there was an older woman. And, we go around and say, what do you hear? She was a PE teacher, but also a librarian. So, librarian, PE teacher, never lifted before in her life.
Oh, wow.
Shows up. Okay, it's a coaching course, so we should, be able to do it. But that was surprising.
Yeah.
She had very good lifts by the end of it, and she was awesome and followed up, maybe about a month after the course and said, hey, I've got my, high school kids at this international school lifting, and they're doing great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. You get people that have never lifted before. You think, oh, they're, coaches. It's a coaching course.
Yeah.
I'd say 2-3 people in every course that have never lifted.
Yeah, really.
Surprising, yeah.
But it's actually the same thing that you hear from CrossFit Level 1 seminar staff. They say the same thing every time they have a seminar. There's always like 1 or 2 people that have never done CrossFit before. So it's kind of interesting,
Yeah.
It's kind of cool though, right?
Yeah.
If CrossFit or weightlifting is so compelling that people are willing to spend, 2-3 days of their life learning about it, and they've never done it before. And again, I think that takes some guts to show up and just be like, I don't even know. Yeah. I think that's really cool. That means that it's something that is, really enjoyable. I've had people show up, personal trainer and their client. The client was an older gentleman and just did like in-home personal training. He never played sports really, probably like 60 years old, maybe like 1.90 meters tall, super tall guy. Moved really well. But, if you know that you're going to be in a room full of a bunch of 25-year-old guys and you're this guy, right? Or you're a 7-year-old librarian or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that takes some guts. But, usually everyone is just super nice and friendly and welcoming. But you never really know who's going to show up. I think that's half the fun.
Yeah, that's good.
For sure.
Do you think every athlete that is doing is in sports should do Olympic lift?
I do.
Yeah.
I think every athlete that's involved in sport can benefit from the Olympic lifts. It usually sounds kind of shady when someone works for Eleiko. That's like, everyone should be lifting on an Eleiko barbell. It sounds like just like a ploy.
Do you lift more with Eleiko barbell or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually,
just to get that
here's the thing: when you use an Eleiko barbell, gravity is lesser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's lesser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So less gravity when you use an Eleiko barbell.
So that's a deal you made with the earth, actually.
Yeah,
Cool.
there's a gravity storm when you pick up like a rogue bar.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Not to drop any names, but
I mean, Henley,
Casually.
Usaka, they're all in that deal together.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, so I do agree though. I mean, I think snatch and clean and jerk are so dynamic and the power output is great, especially if it's performed correctly. Maybe another question on top of that is how young should people, can kids lift or
So I'll go back to the other question real quick. Why it actually matters, right? I guess being a teacher, I always like to explain why.
It's good.
If you think about sport, right? Any sport, you can run, you can jump, you can punch, you can throw, you can kick. How much time does it take to do those movements?
Yeah.
Right? You can only produce force when you're in contact with the ground or in contact with an object, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how long, when you're doing a vertical jump, are you in contact with the ground?
Not long.
Yeah. Split second. Yeah.
Split second.
Yeah.
What about sprinting, running? How long is your foot on the ground?
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look at Olympic lift, if you look at the time constraints on a lift, can you do a snatch slowly? Like, can you take 3 seconds to do a snatch?
It depends on the weight, but
3
not
seconds.
powerful.
3 seconds would be a rough,
that's
rough
It's a
snatch,
long time. Yeah.
right? So there's a time limit. Can
absolutely.
you do a deadlift in like 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. So if you look at carryover to sport and you look at the second pull of a snatch or a clean, right when the bar's in your hip, that movement, that punch up from there takes about 150 milliseconds. Okay, elite sprinters are on the ground for about 100 milliseconds. If you're trying to do a vertical jump, that concentric portion's about 200 milliseconds, 250.
So
if
you would say that word again, concentric.
Concentric. So when your legs are bent,
Yeah.
and all you have to do is go up. So
Got
you're
it.
kind of preloaded.
Yeah.
You're ready to go.
It's your power position, maybe.
Power position. When
Yeah.
you're in power position and you're going to jump, that's the time you have to put force into the ground.
Yeah.
Okay? So you don't have to be an Olympic lifter. You don't have to do a full clean and jerk. You don't have to do a full snatch. You don't even have to go from the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go from the hang, get into power position, and like you said, actually hit it, the carryover to sport is ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's no other movement that's got that kind of power output and that matches the force time characteristics that we can expect to need to develop in sport. You get the question all the time, is it too young, right? Does your son, Victor, does he lift?
I wouldn't say he lifts, no. But, I mean, no, not with weights.
How old
But
is
he does lift.
How old is he now?
With, like, broomsticks. He's 7.
Okay, he's 7.
Yeah. He
So-
does a lot of gymnastics, so he lifts himself a lot.
Okay.
But with, like, yeah, we haven't put any weight on with snatches or... Not that I wouldn't do it. It's just he does, like, gymnastics. He plays rugby. He
too
plays
busy.
football. It's just... He's got a lot going on.
You gotta prioritize weightlifting
Yeah,
for Victor.
yeah.
I'm just saying. Rugby, whatever. But you know, it is a big misconception. I mean, people still think it's bad to squat below parallel.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's bad to squat, with your knees going forward. You got to fight a lot of that. When is it good to have kids lift? Probably when they can follow directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have to have emotional maturity to be able to follow directions. And that usually is sooner for women than men,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So probably 9, 10 for girls, maybe 10, 11 for boys.
Yeah.
And you have that part down. Now, is there any real benefit to teaching them early? I'm going to argue yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you speak multiple languages, right?
Yes.
Yes.
When did you learn your other languages?
Yeah, really young.
Yeah.
Well, in our case in Luxembourg, you start learning a second language when you're like 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, I would say the same.
And then
Yeah.
you start a third language when you're 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, they speak like 10 languages.
No,
Yeah.
that's too
Luxembourgish
many.
people. Well, I mean, you maybe cut it in half, but they really speak like 5 languages.
Yeah.
Like Victor, my
45,
son,
Yeah.
I speak Icelandic and English, and then just a little bit of Danish, but I don't really. I should speak Danish because we study a lot of Danish in Icelandic schools. Anyway, so we moved here when Victor was 5, and he spoke Icelandic at that time and was familiar with English, but he wasn't
Yeah.
confident speaking it. And of course, because we speak English when we engage with other people here, so he picked up English really fast. Then he was in Luxembourgish school system, so he picked up Luxembourgish, and then now he's studying German.
Dang.
So he's already, got 4 languages.
Yeah. So why? Why do they bother? There's so many other things. They could teach them how to do math. They could teach them, all kinds of stuff. Why do they take the time to teach them so young?
Because it's important to, I guess it.
Is there an advantage to teaching kids
Absolutely.
a language? when
Well, I've
they're
heard that there's a time frame on your brain.
Exactly.
See, I'm not
Okay,
a PhD,
okay.
but I'll go with it. And you're more, I guess, accessible to these things, and you'll learn it more naturally. So he speaks Luxembourgish his accent is pretty good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So there's a potential advantage because they pick it up faster,
Yeah.
right? They're more, let's say, receptive to it. It's sort of an optimal time for them to learn. Now, if you wanted to learn a language when you guys are your age, can you do it?
You can, but it's harder.
It's much harder,
It's much
right?
harder, yeah.
I did not learn German from a young age, unfortunately. My father's American, and it's just got to be like too hard. My brother did. So when I speak German, ich kann Deutsch sprechen, aber nicht wirklich gut. People go, "Oh, you're American. How cute."
Klingt aber gut, ne?
Yeah, schlecht.
Arnar, he's like, what?
Yeah. So
Speak some Danish, for fuck's sake.
the Swedish people speak better German than I do, and they're like, "Oh, I don't really know German," and I'm like, "I hate you." So it is, yeah. You can learn it later, but it's not as good, right? So you kind of brought it up. There is a critical age period for learning language, right? And everybody kind of knows it, and that's why you try to give your kid that head start and get them started early because it's going to be easier for them. They're going to sound more fluent, more natural. The same thing exists for motor skills.
Yeah.
The exact same thing. So that sort of time where we optimize learning for motor skills is there. And I think every parent wants the best for their child, right? Yeah. So if you want the best for your child, you want to get them the language early. And yeah, you could have them do it later, but that's why we start early. And so I think instead of having a discussion about, is it safe? You know, is it something I should be worried about? Is it going to stunt their growth? I think we need to reframe that discussion, because it really should be, don't you want your child to have every advantage possible? Because they could absolutely learn those movements later. But, you know, if you go back to the example of Ruth in Thailand, is much harder for her to pick it up. She can.
That's the 7-year-old librarian.
Yeah, I'm going to say she's 7. Probably getting a lot of trouble for that. Maybe she's,
I don't think she's listening,
maybe she's 39.
I don't think she's listening.
Maybe she's just really 39. Right? Ruth is awesome, but you know, you can see as people try to pick up those movements, it's much harder. So, you know, instead of having parents be concerned about, you know, is it safe for my kid to get started? It's like, that's the wrong discussion to have. It's, if we know that people pick it up better at that age, we should give them that opportunity. We should give them the broomstick. We should teach them the motor patterns. We should make sure they do that, because that's going to give them that advantage. And so if we start them there, that's going to help them in any sport, right? Just to learn those movements. But yeah, there does appear to be some good evidence to show critical age periods for motor skills. Yeah. And that's sort of the basis for long-term athlete development. And trying to get them to do gymnastics, to do, you know, weightlifting movements, to do sprint work, to try to get all that stuff optimized.
Yeah.
And I think you'd put more importance on the single progressions when you're teaching kids than you would with, adults, actually, in a sense. So putting up weight, you clear first if the technique is really good, I suppose, before you actually start loading. And
you know what? It isn't really training at that age, right? It's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You come in
it should be,
twice
otherwise...
a week. You do a lot of complexes, so you get a lot of reps. So you could take, you know, a PVC full of sand, you know, and go through, okay, we're going to do some overhead squats. We're going to do, you know, some power snatches, and do a big complex, and kids are just kind of having fun. Mm-hmm. We're not really trying to load them up.
But you've heard the saying, like when I was a kid, I would always hear, if you start lifting, you'll stop growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how it worked out for you?
No. I mean, I do agree with you. I'm just saying other people.
Are you like having a moment where you're like, if only I had.
I was supposed to be a lot taller.
Yeah.
When I started lifting.
No, I mean, that's the thing. It's
no, but really, people say
that's why weightlifters are short. Did you know that? It's because they started them early.
Yeah.
If you want to be good at weightlifting, you have to start early, because that's how you're going to stunt your growth.
I don't know if people know that you're sarcastic, but
so it turns out
it's like in a class, you always have to make sure if people understand if you're sarcastic.
But have you heard this?
Yep. You hear that, so you hear a couple things, right? It'll damage your growth plates. It's risky. You know, you're gonna get injured. When you get injured and your growth plates are still open, you think you're gonna stunt their growth. You know, all kinds of stuff that way. You know, probably kids' backpacks when they're in, you know, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade.
Dude, like Victor's backpack is so heavy.
So heavy, right?
Yeah. Really big, like bigger as he is, right?
Yeah. And we were like, because they're not that heavy in Iceland. I don't know. And I don't know why Luxembourg's kids aren't stronger.
Because they got to learn 7 languages. Exactly. They got 7 books.
Or you might have less gravity in Iceland.
Maybe. But anyway,
struck a deal or something.
So we buy him a backpack, because that's, you know, what you do.
Yeah.
You buy a school bag. And he walks to school, obviously, with an empty bag, because he's first day of school. Everyone's carrying bags like they're at the airport. They're dragging them. And we're like, why are they dragging all these bags? Why aren't, you know, just wear a backpack. Come on. And he comes home like with a 20-kilo backpack. We got it. You need to have wheels on these backpacks.
I actually know a coach who did like a youth, you know, camp or whatever at their gym. And they said, look, parents, bring me your kids and bring in the kids' backpack. And they would take the backpack, they'd put it on a scale, and they go, your kid has got this load every single day.
Yeah.
Why are we worried about, you know, my PVC pipe filled with sand?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like we're not.
That's true.
We're not going to do anything worse than, you know, your Luxembourgish textbook is doing to your kid. But, you know, the reality is if that's the perception of the parents, then, you know, you as a coach have to then make that argument. And I think understanding that giving your kid an advantage is what it's doing, parents start to pay a little bit more attention than worrying about, okay, they're going to get injured. It's ridiculous that you still have to have this thing. You know, people are playing football, they're playing soccer. You know, they have all these other sports, but somehow weightlifting is the one that is this like deeply concerning activity. Like you can play rugby and like smash into people. Yeah. But God forbid you take a, you know, 1 kilo, you know, PVC pipe overhead and, you know, sure enough, your growth plate snaps.
But the thing is, nowadays you can go to the fitness studio and go on the treadmill. So that's much safer, right?
Oh, it's so much safer. So much better. Yeah, just let them flail around.
The thing is, we talked about like the whole lifts being good for athletes in other sports. We talked about the lifts being good for children now, or youngsters. My question to you is, do you think that the Olympic lifts are also, well, do they actually benefit, or training the power from Olympic lifts, does that benefit people in general for their general health, that just want to do it out of fun and for their health?
Yeah. Why do people go to the gym that are not athletes, like that are done competing? I shouldn't say not athletes. They're done competing. To
look good naked and have fun.
And have fun. And be healthy, I guess.
Okay, so be healthy.
Oh yeah, that's important too, isn't it?
Be healthy, right?
Yeah. Well, if you did hurt yourself at some point, it is.
No, it is.
Okay. So be healthy, have fun, look good naked. That's why people are in the gym. If you do large muscle mass, dynamic multi-joint movements, are you more likely to burn a high number of calories than if you were to just sit there and do some curls?
You need to dumb that down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of muscle.
I mean, I understand.
Lots
but
of
for
muscle.
Those people that are listening.
Oh,
you know,
No, if you want to look good naked, you gotta lift.
Okay.
Right?
Good.
So if we're gonna do like cardio, okay, you can do cardio all day long. Probably not gonna make a big difference. Okay, it can. But if you want sort of the fastest path, we're gonna have to put in some weight training. Okay, it turns out weightlifting is kind of addictive, super fun, because people typically who weren't athletes, or, you know, like, hey, I just kind of want to look good naked, they probably haven't done it. So their ability to get better is so high. Like they're just untrained.
Yeah.
So they get better, and if people get better and are successful, it's fun. They want to come back,
absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So it's kind of addictive in that sense, and then they do it. They get a bunch stronger. And when they get stronger, they can lift more weight. And when they can lift more weight, they can burn more calories.
Yeah.
And so then they start to look good naked, and it's fun, and all their friends are doing it. And you got to credit CrossFit for that, to be totally honest.
Well, they made Olympic weightlifting cool again.
They made it super cool again.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I always say, this is probably a bad thing to say, but whatever. How many fat joggers do you see out there? Right? I mean, a lot.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
All just shapes and sizes are just like running around. How many fat 400-meter sprinters do you see?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
No, not
so
at all,
for
actually.
Any.
You know, you think about that, you know, higher intensity work.
Yeah.
We all know that higher intensity work, you're going to burn more calories. Okay, so if we're doing heavy loads, higher intensity, getting stronger, burning calories, they're going to look at naked, they're going to have fun. And then you see those folks, and I'm sure you guys see this all the time at your gym, right?
Yeah.
They're so excited that they're strong.
Yeah.
Like it's this really cool realization.
And surprised.
They're surprised, right? Yeah. They're like, I didn't realize I was this strong.
Yeah.
And then they're pretty excited about it. And then the excitement kind of switches. It goes from like, that's pretty cool, to, I wonder how strong I can actually get. Right? And then they kind of get, I don't say greedy, but they start really trying to push themselves. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to make a change, if you're going to make a lasting change, especially the look good naked change, you have to work out consistently.
Yes.
And so once they kind of get that bug and they're excited about it and they want to come in and they see that great community that, you know, everyone's here doing it and they get all that support, how do you not fall in love with it? Mm-hmm. And it just kind of takes care of itself. Whereas you're out running cardio and, you know, 3 feet of snow by yourself, meh.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know?
One of my favorite things to see as a coach is when someone comes in and their focus is on like how they look in the mirror, which is normal, just how they look.
Sure.
So, you know, what's their body weight? That's their kind of their focus. That's why they're training.
Yeah.
And then for a lot of people that, you know, start CrossFit, their focus will shift when they realize these things, that, wow, I can lift, this is cool. So their focus is now, okay, how much can I snatch? You know, how fast can I row for 500 meters and then, you know, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So their focus is not on how they're looking, what's their body weight, but it's a byproduct. So it becomes a lot easier, and it kind of just, I think it's definitely a mental thing that helps people get the goals they want.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone today who works out at your gym. What was your sport? What sport did you play? You move really well, you're good and strong. Nothing. And how many people that do CrossFit didn't do sports?
Mm-hmm.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
You know, and they do it, and it's really the first time in their life that they realize just how strong they are.
Yeah.
And just how much potential they have. And it must be really cool for you guys to see that over and over, and to be at a gym and kind of know that those people are gonna realize what they have and then get so excited, and it's almost like their whole personality changes. You know, when they get excited to, you know, PR their rowing time or PR their snatch or whatever.
Yeah.
Because now they actually are pretty confident. So it isn't just like a gym thing. They go from like, I want to look good naked, and then it turns out you got much better self-confidence, much better self-esteem, much better like self-belief, you know? And it's so transformational that it's so cool. You know, I'm not a CrossFit athlete. I don't coach CrossFit, but I interact with a lot of CrossFit coaches and athletes in these courses, and you just see it over and over and over. And weightlifting, the same way. People are just completely changed by it.
Yeah.
And it's so much more than just looking good naked, but obviously it's a good, efficient way to look good naked, which is how, you know, the whole thing gets started.
Yeah, that's good. If let's see, so obviously, we see a lot of people as CrossFit coaches come through, and we teach them from the very start how to lift and all the CrossFit movements and all the, you know, snatch, clean and jerk, what have you. And what I see a lot is, and I want to get your perspective on this, like, what if I have a person that let's say his overhead mobility is just really bad. So whenever he, let's say, squats with a wide grip, it doesn't work. Would you, I mean, for that person, would you just do power movements, or would you actually, I mean, this might be a person that's already like 45 years old, never done sports, and it's probably going to take me or him a long time to get that mobility back, if he can, which I want to believe he can. But what do you do with that person?
I mean, I think regardless of whether you're an athlete or you're, you know, general population, I think you always have to go back to what's the goal.
Yeah.
What's your training goal? And from your training goal, then you decide what's the appropriate thing to do with him. Yeah. So if that person's goal is, I just want to be healthy, do they need to do a full snatch?
No.
If their goal is to compete in weightlifting, do they need to do a full snatch?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm going to guess that most of those people with kind of crummy overhead mobility that are 45 that roll into a gym just want to work out.
Yeah.
And so if you spend all this time on mobility, I get on the foam roller and here's a band and roll around.
They're going to go.
They're going to go, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Are they going to look any better naked? Are they going to feel like they got in a workout? No.
Yeah.
So no, you gotta just
work around
it, you know? Maybe they can clean really well.
Yeah.
Maybe their front squat's fantastic, but you know.
Exactly.
You can still do the movements.
No, that's good. I agree. I mean, I totally agree. So if we just continue a little bit on with the lifts, and are there any, I was interested to know, are there any flaws or technical, you know, inefficiencies or, you know, errors that you see that are just super common? Let's say in a snatch.
Yes. There are some common errors that you can expect to see. I guess we're at CrossFit. I guess I'm just going to throw down.
Yeah.
You guys heard of this guy named Piros Dimas?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty good weightlifter.
Yeah, but you can talk about him. Like
Piros
people
Dimas
don't know.
is probably one of the most decorated, you know, Olympians in weightlifting. Greek gentleman, fantastic lifter.
Right.
If you don't follow weightlifting, it's like, you know, the Michael Jordan of weightlifting. Just imagine. Yeah. Okay, he recently started coaching for the U.S. So he's now the head coach for USA Weightlifting. pretty cool. We're pretty lucky to have him. And actually, I'm really fortunate that my weightlifting coach is the assistant coach under Piros Dimas.
Nice.
Okay. Pretty cool. They went out to lunch, just chatting. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for telling this story. But Mike goes, hey, Piros, what do you think is the biggest problem with weightlifting today?
Right.
And again, secondhand information. Apparently, without hesitating, he just blurted out, CrossFit hips.
Does that mean tight hips then?
Unfortunately, no.
They don't open.
No, they open too much.
Too much, yeah.
Because in CrossFit, we cue open the hips. Open the hips. Open the hips. And if you open the hips, the shoulders go back, and you kick the bar out. Right?
Open the hips. Extend the hips? Would you say that's the same thing?
Yeah, equally bad.
Yeah?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If I were to ask you to just stand up and do a vertical jump,
Yeah.
okay, what would you be thinking
Jump.
about? Jump.
Yeah.
Cool. So is the snatch basically just a vertical jump with weight? You get into that power position, should kind of look like you're about to do a vertical jump.
Pretty much. Drive through the heels, maybe? No?
Were you thinking drive through the heels when you just did a vertical jump?
Not when I jumped, but when I snatched.
Yeah.
That's more what I'm thinking.
So what's the last part of your body to leave the ground when you do a
ball of my
vertical
feet.
jump? Yeah. So what the hell is drive through the heels?
I don't know. You
Yeah,
tell me.
I don't know either. Stop thinking that. Here's the deal. If you don't have to cue open the hips or drive through your heels when you're doing a vertical
The
jump.
problem also with...
Why?
I know, but
Why bring it up?
when I say jump
Yeah.
and a person jumps, what are you going to do when that person just like lifts their feet way off the floor and just is jumping to jump?
Give them more weight. Just kidding.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
sort of a
talking
slow
about.
landing.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
So like the timing, they
Like-
float
like-
up.
yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
like they're
Yeah.
jumping with their feet, but there's no power in the hip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So
But I'm to go back a little
Yeah.
bit. It's cool that he said that CrossFit is the CrossFit hips is the problem. That means, well, he's paying attention.
I mean, I'm no Piros Dimas, but I'm gonna agree with the guy.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem that I see.
But okay, so
Is pushing the hips into the bar instead of going vertical.
going forward, so they're humping, but they're not jumping.
Yep.
Right.
Less humping.
You like that?
Less humping.
Yeah.
More jumping.
Yeah.
Totally agree. So,
But in my experience, it's almost. I mean, I feel like early arm bend is more common than at least what I see.
well, it
on
doesn't
daily
have to be
basis.
either or. You can
Well,
hump the bar and bend your
Well,
arms.
that's great too.
I mean, I'm just addressing
You
the
know,
first.
some people that do that.
The first thing I see. You gotta work your way back to the problem. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think early arm bend is an issue. Early arm bend is pretty easy to fix.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. I think if you do a ton of reps and you're used to that pattern of like pushing your hips through the bar, it's really hard to correct that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Maybe CrossFit coaches can enlighten me why everyone is obsessed with the cue, open your hip or extend your hip.
Do you hear that a lot? Do we say that a lot?
Not really, actually.
I don't think I say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I
Okay, well,
say
that's
that?
good.
Talk to me if you're listening and I say that. Let me know.
Yeah.
I think it comes from the fact that you have to go into full extension,
Yeah.
and then the cue, extend your hip. Well, actually, to go into extension, that's where the cue comes from. But then I totally agree with you. If you shoot the hip forward, that you're shooting the bar forward, and you see this a lot in CrossFit, and you can hear it actually. So many people, you can hear the
Slamming the
barbell
bar.
slamming, not even in the hip, but they're
Yeah.
slamming it into the lower part of the femur,
Yeah.
like really like crazy.
But I think in general, if we just talk about like coaching cues,
Yeah.
I think coaches overuse like body parts too much.
Agreed.
Like when they're coaching.
Agreed.
And so they assume that the client, especially when you're CrossFit, because it's
Yep.
not an athlete that doesn't really know necessarily much
Yep.
about the body. I mean, open the hips. He's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But jump, he can relate to that,
Yeah.
right?
Or they grab their thigh and they go, "Man, my lats are tight."
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't.
Dude,
you just can't expect them to know.
You can't imagine like when we get people in, not to when we get people in and they have never moved, other than just they take a shit once a day or
Yeah.
twice.
Get up off the couch
Get
once
up,
a day
yeah.
or twice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's their squatting. It's amazing how little they know about their body. But these people might be really smart, like PhDs, what have you, you know?
You trying to say PhDs are smart but street stupid?
Maybe. No, but yeah, I think it's an overuse of coaches, and I'll probably do that myself, because that's how we're thinking. You know, you see something and you just name like get your traps involved. It's like, what?
I think,
and it does work on some athletes that
if they
have
know
the
what
same
that is.
vocabulary
Yeah.
that you
Sure,
have.
sure.
But on new people, I totally agree. It's not.
I got crazy lucky. I got crazy lucky in my life that when I learned weightlifting, it was my last year in college, and my high school track coach, Sean Schleiser, was like, "Hey, there's this guy you need to work with. He'll help you."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." So I went to this guy who was operating out of like literally a barn. Like there were horses outside, and he had just set up shop in like this family's barn in exchange for training their 3 sons. And what I ended up doing was getting trained by Mike Catone, who now works with Piros Dimas, and his mentor, Roger Nielsen. So these 2 guys who were super high-level weightlifting coaches. You know, I kind of fell into working under them. So they taught me to lift, and then I eventually worked for them when they got a proper gym and things like that. And being around them, I sort of learned that they were teaching a feeling. And that's, I think, the most important thing about coaching philosophy that I've taken from them, sort of the way that I teach the lifts. And that goes back to your point about jumping. Oh, yeah. Yes. When I ask people to jump and I say punch the ground away and jump, right? I'm teaching them to make an effort. I'm not teaching them how I want them to move their feet in a lift. But if I don't teach them to make an effort, like to really punch the ground away, I'm not going to be able to get them to do the movement successfully. And so watching Mike and Roger over and over and over teach people, punch the ground away, get that feeling, then it's like, okay, make that same effort, okay, but then just go up on your toes. So same effort, just punch the ground away, but that's the effort I want you to put into it. That made much more of a difference than, okay, pull yourself under or slide your feet out, because the issue is making the effort initially, is people don't know how to be aggressive into the ground. Okay. And that's why if you put people in the right position and tell them to jump, get them, in that mentality that position should be one that you can jump really high from, it makes your job as a coach really easy. Because if they get back to a position, you're like, do you feel strong? Do you feel like you could, jump through the roof from here? And they're like, no. Yeah. Okay, cool.
But I think, that feeling, or just feeling how you're moving from rep to rep, that's huge. Yeah. Because then you can start self-correcting and...
Exactly. It makes your job as a coach that much easier, and you're no longer having people like snatch and then turn their head and have the entire bar turn with them, and they go, Arnar, was that good? Yeah. As they like tear their hip labrum. You want to get some athletes that are self-sufficient. Yeah. That's the goal.
Agreed.
Yeah. Not to name any names, but this week, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that. There was a guy doing a workout at our gym, and it was like a chipper with a lot of movements and just random movements like rowing, kettlebell swing, and I'm walking around kind of looking. He would just always stare at me when I'm walking around. So he's rowing and he's staring to the left, like give me give me an approval that this is correct. Yeah. It's just kind of awkward when you're like rowing or doing a kettlebell swing and you're all tilted to the left to see the coach watching you.
But it happens, doesn't it? It's got to happen all the time.
Oh yeah, it does.
But perhaps these people are just looking for feedback also.
Oh, for sure. But that's not the way they should do it.
I think they just wanted like a high five. maybe just like a fist bump.
Or maybe he thought I was pretty. Maybe he just wanted to see me more.
Yeah. Could have been it.
Yeah. But that's good. So if you were supposed to teach a person that never has done a snatch before, but you could only use either your words, you can only use words, you can talk, but you cannot, you have to be still when you're talking, or no words and you can move, right?
Super easy.
Hold on, I'm gonna give you more options.
Ooh, okay.
Or you can, the third one is you can touch, well, not in a weird way, but you can like direct.
No creepy hands.
Without you moving, but you can have him moving. Like you can touch him.
So I can grab him.
And like you can get him to well, maybe the third option is stupid. Let's stick to the.
No, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I can grab them.
Yeah, can grab them and like.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can grab them, but maybe not demonstrate.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
Or I could demonstrate.
Yeah.
Or I
you
could just
speak.
yak at them.
What would you do?
Oh, I would demonstrate, hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Because I'm teaching them a movement. Also, you have this cool thing, right? Where when you're new, you said they'd never done it before. People don't really know how to self-organize if they don't know what the end result should be. So if you've never seen a snatch before, you have to see it to then understand how to do it.
Yeah.
So trying to get someone to reach an endpoint that they don't know what it is, it's useless.
Yeah.
So you have to create, they call it a cognitive blueprint. They have to have a cognitive blueprint of what it is that they're supposed to be doing. And then we also have this cool thing called mirror neurons, right? So if I stand in front of you and I just go, okay, this is me. You do the same as me. And I do it and you see me and do it the same. Now I can demonstrate, okay? And then you're going to learn it like that.
That's why when I'm standing in front of you, I raise my right hand, you're going to raise your left hand.
Yeah.
Not your right hand.
It's the mirror effect.
It's the mirror.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, I think that's the biggest mistake that coaches make. And I think in our courses, we do actually, from time to time.
So the mistake being you talk too much.
Yeah. More words.
Yeah.
Less talking, more grabbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's good.
That's why we have people sign waivers, right? Because I'm
be
just
your-
going to grab on you the whole time.
Should be your slogan.
Even though she said no humping, more jumping before. Right?
CrossFit level
So-
1 strength coach. Less talking, more grabbing.
More grabbing,
Yeah, sound good.
I mean, that's so much more efficient.
No, I agree.
And it's ridiculous because that's usually the biggest mistake we see the coaches that come to our course. We have lifters, fix the lifter. And they are all about tension in your hamstrings and, move your knees back and shoulders over. And they're, these people are now thinking, which never works when you're trying to move fast.
Yeah.
And then they're all kinds of confused about how much back and how much higher. All you have to do is just mash them into the right position. You feel that? Cool. Make it feel the same way the next time. Right. Find that position again. And they're like, oh, that's what you wanted. But we actually ask coaches, there's no talking allowed. So we introduce some drills and say, okay, now you have to get someone else to do it, but I want to hear nothing. And it's funny because some coaches just panic. Yeah. They can't do it.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a big takeaway that we hope people get.
So you do that?
Yeah.
Do they start mimicking?
So my question was really good.
That was a great question.
Awesome.
Nailed it.
But do they start mimicking while they do it?
Yeah, you start to have kind of like, I don't know, baseball is probably not super popular over here, but like all the signs for the different pitches, you start having like these, things. But Angela, my old training partner, she'll just across the room see someone and go like this. Like eyes up, just like point at their eyes, eyes up. And they just know what it is, right? So you kind of have this language with your athletes where they kind of know, right? If you just go, say, make an effort. That kind of thing.
That's because they know exactly what you mean by it because you taught them before, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But, you can absolutely mimic what you want. And if you, have that intent or whatever, move your foot.
People are not watching necessarily.
Yeah, no, you can hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they can
make
hear
an
that.
effort, right? So, it's one of those things where
That's good.
It's people don't realize how much thinking ruins everything.
Yeah.
Weightlifting, you shouldn't really think. You should just smash the bar up.
Yeah.
But, once you get them in the right position, it should be that way. But I think good coaches will either grab or,
Yeah, I think that's good. I think we did good. Last question. Where's Anna in 5 years?
Oh, man. On a farm.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Well, you live on a farm now, right?
I do. I live in a farm in the middle of nowhere, big orchard. I'm a beekeeper. We got chickens and just
awesome.
happy as can be.
Nice.
I hope I am still involved in education. I'm super passionate about building up education. It's this perfect blend of coaching and teaching to do coach education. It just makes me so happy to have a chance to continue to try to work with different coaches. I think, the best job in the world because you get to meet coaches all over the world. And if you can really help a coach, how many athletes is that coach going to have in their career?
Yeah.
How many athletes is each coach going to impact? If you can get to coaches, you can make such a big impact. And I could go back to teaching at a university. but 10 people on average read a journal article.
Yeah.
So I'm publishing something that I think will help coaches, and 10 people read it. That's really not,
I see what you mean.
I'm not trying to disparage people that do research. It's not unimportant.
Yeah, of course.
But my passion is getting people in the field to be able to help people look good naked and be safe and fall in love with weightlifting and be better at sport. So to the extent that I can continue to develop as a coach and as an educator and try to help people get better at their craft, I think that would be immensely satisfying. We have a chance to do some work with military, which military trains worse, I think, than athletes.
Really?
If you're going to put your life on the line and just kind of do whatever and do some cardio, that's sad to me, that those people don't have a better training, program. So I'd like to focus some time on youth weight training. I'd like to focus some time on helping tactical military personnel and help coaches and athletes. So to the extent that we can use the fantastic brand that is Eleiko and the really great, sort of core that we have started at Eleiko Education. Mm-hmm. That's what I hope in 5 years is to have made, a bigger impact that way to try to help educate coaches and athletes.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good. Sounds good.
We're good? Any last words?
Allee, weißt du Leute mal, wie es letzte Woche schwarz? Komm her. Erzähl dir Leute mal ab so Plätze bei euch. Was hast du heute gemacht?
Gymnastics.
Oh, Plätze bei euch. Warst du Turnen?
Ja, ich war Turnen.
An?
Es war gut.
War gut? Ja?
Es war lang.
Ganz
2
lang?
Stunden.
1 Stunde?
Ja.
Okay. Was hast du da gemacht am Turnen?
Oh, gespielt.
Okay. Can you say this in English too?
Warum sind deine Deutsch wirklich besser als meine? Und
That was actually Luxembourgish.
Und du bist 7. Oh, Luxembourgish is close to German.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
Now I don't feel as bad that I didn't understand all of it.
Well, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
This is
And
good.
I hope you guys fight the good fight against CrossFit hips, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I believe in you.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Thanks.
It's a wrap.